my name's Kim. I'm one of the guest bloggers for the Norfolk and Suffolk Foundation Trust Youth Service blog. I wanted to do a video today so I could share with you some of my own personal tips to get through the winter / festive period and staying mentally well in the meantime. For many people, this time of year can be particularly difficult if you've got a mental health condition. I know that for myself personally, with the short days and the cold nights and the pressure surrounding Christmas, it can be particularly difficult for my mental health conditions, depression, anxiety and OCD as well. Over the years, I've been taught different techniques and different tips that have managed to get me through staying relatively mentally well, so I wanted to share these with you in the hope that they'll also help. Hope you enjoy them. Tip number 1 is making sure that you eat well, which I know may be a lot easier said than done this time of year. I know that with all the chocolate and the mince pies and everything like that around, it's so easy to fall into traps where you just graze all day long. But I've found that food and my mood have a correlation. So if I eat loads of sugar, it might make me feel great, but then I've got the crash at the end, which causes me to just feel so tired, and then that's when my depression can start to kick in. Or sometimes if my sugar is too high, that can actually trigger my anxiety. So you need to find a fine balance between the two. So what I recommend is just making sure that you pace yourself and being mindful of what you're eating throughout the day. It's also worth considering adding vitamins, but obviously always check with your pharmacist or GP, especially if you're on other medications. But for those who suffer with SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder, or any other form of depression, vitamin D is known to work really well, as it has the same vitamins in that sunlight gives you, which obviously we don't have much of this time of year. So highly recommend having a look at vitamins and making sure that you stay well through that way. Tip number 2 is something that I learned a couple of years back when I wasn't feeling very well mentally throughout this period of the year. And it's about making plans for the following year. And I'm not talking about New Year's resolutions. I'm talking about planning to see friends. Maybe if you can afford it, a holiday, which I know isn't always possible, but if you can, then it's a really good thing to put into place now so that you've got something to look forward to in the new year. It's very easy to get swept up, especially with Christmas and the pressure that comes with it. So making plans to see friends, family, go away, have a break, anything like that, just have a day out, or even if it's just like a pamper day at home, making plans like that gives you something to look forward to, and it puts things into perspective a little bit, so you're not just faced with that one day of year that you might find particularly difficult. So highly recommend that you put things in your diary for next year today. Tip number 3 is something that I've been doing for a little while now, and that is practicing mindfulness. You might have heard of this. It's basically a form of guided meditation, depending on how you practice it. I use an app called Headspace, which you can get on your phone. It's free, and they have a program called Take 10, and it's basically 10 minutes per day of guided meditation. For a lot of people, especially this time of year, we are rushed off our feet, we take no time to ourselves, and we forget to live and enjoy the present moment, and that's what mindfulness is there to teach you. It does take some practice, I will be honest with you, but if you keep practicing it every day, you'll slowly start to see results. You'll feel a lot calmer, you'll be able to put things into perspective a lot easier, and it just gives you that time of the day to just feel really, really relaxed. You can do it on the bus, you can do it before you go to work in the morning, you can do it before you go to bed at night. But that's the great thing, because it's only 10 minutes, there's never an excuse not to do it. So I highly recommend that you practice some mindfulness. If you don't want to get the app on your phone, there's plenty of videos on YouTube as well. Just type in guided meditation or mindfulness, and you'll find millions of different videos come up. For me personally, I use Headspace because it fits in with my lifestyle, and I get on really well with the guided breathing. It's great for anxiety, so highly recommend that you practice some mindfulness. Tip number 4 is taking a day out if you need to, which sounds really straightforward, but in this society that's actually really difficult to do. We're always connected with other people, whether that's through the internet, or especially this time of year, we're always at social gatherings or spending time with family, that kind of thing. So it can be really difficult to take a day out to do exactly what you want to do. Over the years, I'm slowly starting to learn that taking a day out is actually really beneficial. And when I mean do nothing, I literally mean do nothing. There can be, for some people, a lot of guilt attached to that. A lot of guilt attached to just having a day where you don't commit to do anything, you don't do the housework, you don't see anyone, you turn off your phone. But actually, that can be a saviour in itself. I've found that literally sitting at home, putting on my favourite film, being in my pyjamas, eating what I want, doing what I want, has just been amazing. And the next day I feel refreshed, rejuvenated, I'm ready to pick myself up and carry on. And it's great. It works really, really well. So I highly recommend that over the festive and winter period that you take one day out at the least, if you feel you really need it. Sleep-ins when you want, go to bed when you want. Stay in bed all day if that's really what you want to do, but just take a day where you do nothing and commit to nothing either. My fifth and final tip is that if you are really, really struggling, please make sure that you talk to someone. Don't sit and suffer in silence. There is so much pressure this time of year to get things right and go to all these social gatherings, and perhaps you're not very comfortable with that. Perhaps it's a difficult time of year. It has a lot of memories attached to it for you. You're not alone. There are so many people this year who do struggle, but the great thing is that there is so much support out there. There's so many different services, helplines, whether that's email support, telephone support. There's whatever you feel comfortable with, there is bound to be something that will help. Don't forget, you've also got professional support such as going to your GP. There are plenty of charities, and I will post with this blog some of the charities that I personally recommend, helplines that I recommend as well that you speak to. But even if you don't feel like going to that extent, make sure you talk to a friend or a family member about how you're feeling. Don't keep it up inside, because that's when it gets bigger and harder to deal with. You don't have to suffer alone. You don't deserve to suffer alone. So please talk to someone if you are really struggling. Okay, so they're my 5 tips that I believe can hopefully help you to stay mentally well throughout the winter and festive period. I hope that you all have a great Christmas if you're celebrating it. If you're not, I hope you enjoy the time off. I'd love to hear what you think of this video. Feel free to post in the comments below. And if you've got any tips of your own, please do feel free to share them. You never know who's going to read them and who it might help. So take care and thanks for watching.